What just happened?
What just happened?
What just happened?
What just happened?
What the fuck happened?
And welcome back to What Just Happened. This is going to be episode 5 of season 3 of Servant, called Tiger. And real quick, if you guys didn't see, we did a fan theory video from all the comments that we didn't read so far, as many as we could get to. So if you guys want to be in the next one, just make sure you subscribe and you comment, and then you can be in the running for the $50 gift card to any movie theater of your choice at the end of the season. But getting into this one, there's a block party on Spruce Street. Okay. And Jules, do you think that there's always something that makes Leanne uncomfortable? Like they always have to have some type of gathering, something going on that she has to deal with a lot of people.
Oh, yeah. No, they're definitely doing that. I mean, she said over and over and over again how being around all these strangers is troubling for her, and they continue to do it anyway, which, I mean, I understand. I mean, Dorothy's a TV personality. Sean is a well-known chef. It's kind of expected for them to have these kind of gatherings, but I think they're trying to help her. I think they're doing this so that they can kind of ease her out of this weird, like, nervous phase that she's in right now. But I definitely think that they have continually put her in these uncomfortable situations, despite her saying that she doesn't want to be in them.
Yeah, and it's either they don't believe her or they don't understand the impending threat with the cult, which we found some shit out in this episode that we'll get to. So, like, she has a reason to be paranoid, but maybe she's a little over the top. If you look back at Mr. Smiley, she like held a knife to him. So, like, she literally doesn't trust anyone. She just wants to feel safe. And all these gatherings are just making things worse for her. But my first reaction to this that set off my cult radar was Vera did not show up to this party.
That was my first thought too. My very first thought. They're like, oh, she's not coming. I'm like, sketchy. She wasn't in the last episode either.
And I think she didn't come because she didn't want to be recognized by someone or have her cover blown, because I'm still on Team Vera being in the Church of Lesser Saints for sure. And the fact that it was kind of like a throwaway line, but then if you go back and watch the season, it's like, oh, that's why she didn't show up. I think that's the type of thing that they're going for her. That's my
I would definitely
theory.
agree with that. Yeah, for sure.
So Dorothy goes out of her way to mention the barbecue tent from Bucks County, which does come into play later. It definitely comes into play later. And then Dorothy is upset that Isabel, that the new news reporter, is covering the story on an idea that Dorothy pitched. So look out.
Yeah. I mean, I don't blame her, though. I'd be pissed.
Yeah, but Isabel might fall down some stairs soon or lose a finger.
Well, especially after Leanne caught her talking shit.
Yeah. And Julian because then she's like, well, I'm going on camera. Like, this was my idea. So she brings Jericho on camera. Julian's freaking out. He doesn't want that to happen at all. He thinks it's a totally bad idea, worrying that Aunt May would see it. We still haven't seen Aunt May since last season. So I'm wondering when she's going to show up. And like I said in the fan theory video, they're really keeping the cult shit really, really secret. Now, I do believe there was some cult stuff going on in this episode, which I will get to soon. Speaking of, Sean's minister, Nancy.
Oh, I don't trust her.
She didn't eat the ice cream. Rule 2.
Which
they don't eat the
could
food.
be coincidental. It could have been done just to throw us off. And I don't know, I'm starting to kind of feel like Leanne here, but like I just definitely don't trust her at all.
Yeah, I don't trust anyone. I really don't. And then Leanne sees the homeless people again, which I still believe they're there to help, but she has them kicked out because they weren't paying to be there. And apparently that's how they do block parties on Spruce Street. But then Roscoe shows up. What does he want?
Yeah, that was odd because he was just in that one scene, right? Like they just flashed him there.
Yeah, they just showed him there, like kind of scoping things out. So like, what is he up to?
He's kind of like still unintentionally involved in this cult, do you?
Could be. He could have been brainwashed. I mean, he lost track of like an entire week. He won't go in the house. Now, and like a commenter said before, this is a godless house. So maybe they turned him. And that's something that we should have our minds open about at this point, because why was he there? He wasn't being paid to be there. So like, why was he there scoping things out? And that's literally the only shot we saw, was he was just kind of lurking in the distance, seeing what was going on. So that gave me some red flags.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we technically don't know that Julian didn't ask him to be there, but I mean, I feel like he hasn't been around, so it definitely does seem a little weird that he just showed up out of the blue.
Yeah. And speaking of weird, remember when Lan was having her face painted like a tiger?
Oh my God, this
And
freaked me the fuck out. Oh,
when the
sorry.
yeah, that's fine. When the artist steps away for a second, then someone touches her head. Who the hell was that?
My first thought is that it just reminded me of Uncle George.
It did, for sure. Yeah.
Just like his hands just looked like so dirty, and it just that was my gut feelings that it was Uncle George.
Yeah, I think so too. But right after that, Leanne and Toby have a bonding session. She's excited to find out that Sylvia wants nothing to do with Toby again. I kind of hope they end up together.
Oh, I so hope they end up together. They're so
Yeah.
cute.
Yeah, and they both want each other's best interest, and
Yeah.
so I hope that is a plot point that comes.
Yeah, and I think that Toby's really good for Leanne though, because did you notice that the entire time that she was with him, she wasn't freaking out and like looking around at all the people and trying to make sure like Dorothy was okay, and like she was just enjoying the moment when they were together.
Yeah,
So,
it's pretty much the first time she let her guard down all season when she was hanging out with him. Like, even to the point that she asked him to dance. And remember the last episode when she said to Dorothy, she's like, "Oh, I'm not a good dancer. I don't like to dance." But she asked him to dance, and then they went and like partied and had a good time. So I found that pretty interesting, that she really, really trusts Toby like 100%. And outside of the Turners, he's the only person that she trusts. That's it.
yeah. I mean, you can definitely tell she's like super comfortable with him. And I swear, if they turn around and say that he's like part of this cult or he does something bad to her, I'm going to lose it. I'm going to be so upset because this poor girl has nobody on her team. I mean, she's got the Turners, but I mean, you can tell that they only like believe her to a certain extent,
Yeah.
Toby doesn't seem to care that she has all these weird things. He doesn't force her out of her comfort zone. She just arrives there on her own when she's with him.
Yeah, and he really mirrored what she said the last episode. She was like, "Sylvia treats you like shit." And then in this episode, he was kind of like, "Yeah, we weren't really a good fit." Like, he was just like mirroring exactly what her doubts were about Sylvia. So they definitely seem like they have each other's best interests at heart. The booty call earlier in the season, we'll see what happens with that. But did you notice Julian, when he was watching them dance, he looked a little jealous.
Oh,
Look a little jealous.
He was burning a hole through Toby.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely caught that. Caught that.
He was not happy at that. So then one of the craziest things happened. Okay. So Leanne goes into the barbecue tent that was suggested by Dorothy, that she has to try this food from Bucks County. M. Night Shyamalan, he loves using the surrounding neighborhoods and surrounding suburbs.
I'm from
really.
Bucks.
Yeah.
I'm from Bucks. I know.
She goes in, and that has to be the dagger that was stolen in episode 1 that they were heating up.
No doubt about it.
Okay.
No doubt about it. And what I loved about that scene real quick is that you could just the visuals of her from going from this bright, fun, like block party, and just like as she gets closer to this danger, it gets dark and like mysterious, and like you can just tell that something's gonna happen.
Yeah. It really turned the episode on its head, because up until that point, she was having a good time. And then she straight up attacked. They tried to kill her. And I believe it could be some kind of cult, like full circle type of thing, that if they kill her with the same dagger that she stabbed Aunt Josephine in the eye with, and they were heating it up, and that's part of the ritual. So absolutely cult members there, because they literally chased her and tried to kill her. So man, that was really cool. And I think that's why the homeless people were there, because they were worried and they wanted to look out for her. And if they weren't kicked out, maybe they would have intervened, but they're still holding that for another episode for us to really find out who these people are.
Right.
And that would have given it away. M. Night likes to, hide things in plain sight, but also not give away too much at once. So
And
that's what
he's
keeps
so
you
good
guessing.
at doing that too. That's
Oh.
part of what makes this show so great.
I really think that they were there to try to look out for her, to try to protect her. I think they look up to her in some way, but she gets away. She's got blood all over herself. And so I'm not sure if they actually stabbed her. She had blood in her hair.
That was going to be my question. Like, did that? I can't imagine how she would get blood in her hair if it wasn't her own, especially in that spot. It was like in the back of her head.
Yeah.
But I'm also curious as to what exactly she did to get away from them, because they show a flash of it at the end, but it's just kind of her struggling with them. So I'm wondering if she like did something drastic or if she just somehow scared them away.
Hey man, that could be another reason of Leanne using her powers off screen. You never know.
That's fair.
I'm so excited to see her use her powers on screen, because that moment is going to be insane. Oh, one thing we never talked about. Did you notice that they have a new title card for the intro of the show for the first time? It's totally
No, I
different.
didn't.
So the first couple seasons, it was like shots throughout the house, and they would go
Right.
up the stairs and then into the room. And now this time it's
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
and now this time it's
Right.
shots all the way to her holding Jericho, surrounded by either cult members or by the homeless people. We don't really know because it's dark, but the title sequence, I think, has something. There's a clue in there. I think there's a clue in there.
There
So
has to be. They wouldn't just change it for no reason, you know?
right. Leanne ends up rubbing the blood off herself, taking the blood from her hair, rubbing on her face. Is there any significance to that?
The only thing that I feel like that could circle back to was when she was getting her face painted and he did the thing on her forehead.
Right.
I don't know if it's maybe part of that like ritual thing that they do, but yeah, it was definitely odd.
Yeah, it definitely was. That pretty much wraps up the recap. Like, this was the most self-contained episode of the season, because it was only over the span of a few hours, really. And sometimes they go days. I really like the way they formatted this episode, but let's get into some comments, and then I want to ask the viewers some questions to comment for the next video, and we'll see where we go from there.
Okay, sounds good. So our first comment says, the fact that it was a couple of age to be parents to a baby makes me think that the couple chasing her were the stand-in baby for Jericho.
Right.
Which I actually did not think about.
Me either.
That did not occur to me. That's a very good observation there.
Yeah, I didn't think that at all at first. I thought they were just, whether they were aunt and uncle or less on the hierarchy, that they were sent there by the cult to try to kill Leanne. But that'd be interesting, but that would go against the theory that the doll is Jericho. So there's so many different ways they could take it, and they give us enough evidence, but still not enough to know truly what's going on. So this is going to be a type of show that, like, when it's all said and done, if you were to watch from season 1 to season 4, which is going to be the finale, if you watch straight through, you'll pick up on things along the way, which I love. When it comes to a mystery, it's like stuff that's hidden in plain sight or stuff that you notice the second watch. It makes it so much more fun. We'll have to see what's up with that.
And it's great too, because it makes it so that you can rewatch it. Like, personally, I'm not a huge fan of rewatching shows. There are very few shows that I have that I feel like it's worth rewatching, but this one I would absolutely rewatch from the beginning once it's done.
Yeah, and that goes with the layers that M. Night puts in it. It's just, there's so many different things that you can't possibly take it all in at once. That's why I love doing this, to see your guys' comments, to see stuff that we might have missed and stuff that we didn't think about yet. So what are your guys' thoughts on that? Let us know in the comments. But yeah, we got one more, right?
Okay, so this one is from TNLW is the username. And they said, the homeless guy who wanted to talk to Leanne previously told Dorothy that he had cancer in the past. Maybe the homeless are aware of Leanne's powers and want her help in resolving their problems. I've wondered since season 1 if Leanne is really a teenage girl. She seems so much older. I'm wondering if she is just presenting as a young girl, but maybe a malevolent spirit. The house seems to be rotting/dying from within due to all the lies being kept. The Turners live in their own bubble of sorts where truths are kept hidden and they pretend that their child did not really die. This in contrast to the very real problems, i.e. illness, homelessness, etc., that is right outside of their front door. Of the many things that we don't know and aren't spoken about, what happened to Dorothy and Julian's mother? Where is Sean's family? Who's buried in Leanne's grave, the one that Roscoe and Julian found in season 1? And where is the original Jericho buried? All very good questions.
All great questions, because they never really talked about that. Like, as far as we know, like, they only told a few select people that Jericho 1 actually died, so that when Jericho 2 came, no one was like, I thought this baby was dead. Like, it was just, this is Jericho. So tons of unanswered questions that we need to get the bottom to. So for this week's comments, I would love for you guys to focus on the comments that we just read. What's up with Vera? Because why didn't she show up? That was just such a throwaway line. Oh, she's busy. Bullshit, she was busy. And I know there's people out there that don't think she's in the cult, but she is. Like, if I'm wrong, then I'll admit it. But there's no way in my mind that I can see her not being in the cult at this point in time, especially because she didn't show up.
Yeah, I would be very surprised.
Flag. Huge red flag. So okay, and the couple that tried to kill Leanne with the sacrificial dagger, do you think that they're Jericho's parents? Maybe. I'm still on the side that the doll turned into Jericho, because it's just, you've never seen them in the same room. There's just so many things that point that could be the case. And we also had a comment in our fan theory video. If you guys didn't see that, it's like the most recent video. Just go on our feed, subscribe, go on our feed, and you'll see that Servant season 3 fan theories. And someone brought that up. So really curious you guys' thoughts on this episode. We're halfway there. We're halfway through this season. When are aunt and uncles going to show up? It's got to happen at some point. It's got it. The homeless people. Do you agree with us that they're not really evil and they want her help? Maybe they're sick because the one guy said he had cancer. Maybe they think Leanne can heal them. Or are they just lurking in the background waiting for their chance to pounce? Let us know, because like I said, I'm on the side that they want to help her. I think they would have helped her when she was being attacked, but in this show, you never know. Everything is so hidden. Everything is so layered. So we're going to have to wait and find out. But I like this episode a lot. This season has just been everything I've wanted in a Servant show, and it's a lot of fun. So yeah, make sure you get your comments in, make sure you subscribe, and we'll do another fan theory video in a couple weeks once we have enough to do it for. And they're a lot of fun, because then we read your comments on air, and then you can get people responding to your comments, and then you can have a back and forth, be like, well, this is why I think that. It's a lot of fun. So get involved, comment, subscribe, and as always, thanks for listening, and we will see you next time.
Bye, guys.